old enough to be your grandmother. Maybe your mother, but probably your grandmother. So, all you YNs out there, reach one, teach one. Go tell your fellow YNs, no protesting, please. They want you out there. You know that, right? We will need your services.
You heard that?
But don't go to the protests, please. Head on a swivel. Surround yourself with community.
You heard that?
Be well.
Okay, y'all. How's it going? So, I actually got one more to show y'all before we get to playing music and shit. Hold on. Peep this by Sister Maya Angelou.
Was it Malcolm X who said to you, beware of the black middle class when it emerges? Martin Luther King.
Vusumzilinda Make,
Right.
the South African freedom fighter, told me that, he said, be careful. The black bourgeoisie.
Was it Malcolm X who said...
Okay. I just wanted to get that out the way. So, notice, she said, we will need y'all services. And then the other elder said, don't trust the black bourgeoisie. Okay. There's a lot of misremembering going on in the black community by the elders. A lot of them, and a lot of, people from my generation and younger like to falsely romanticize or not tell the whole story, leave some stuff out about what, the truth that went down back in the day with a lot of these movements. It's really interesting because the thing is, all the things you learn when you read, right? Excuse me. So whatever gang culture you think was, quote, better back in the day, I mean, marginally at best, but honestly, the death rate, in 1974 and in I should have put this in the package. Let's type that in just to show y'all I ain't capping. Highest murder rate years in Chicago. Huh. Now, y'all don't have to, take my word or AI's word for it. But I literally was about to tell y'all this. Literally 1970s and 1990s. That's when the murder rate was higher. So you could check Wikipedia, all of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to waste my time going through this because I literally just thought about this now. I was just going to talk about what I read from the account of the alleged, better gang members from back in the day. And I'm not going to act like they didn't do anything right and that they did everything wrong. But the whole point is for people to recognize that it didn't come from nowhere, right? Gangbanging, and being reckless didn't just, occur, yesterday. Excuse me for the quality of the sound. I'm trying to block this from coming in. In fact, let me try to adjust the light like that. Get one of them. Maybe that'll counter it. Yeah, that probably works a little bit better. All right. So but now it's all right. Cool. That's probably better. All right. Okay. So I brought up this book because at the end of the day, when I read this book, I was so disappointed to hear all of just the egotistic. It's just a story of about a bunch of egotistical old niggas, honestly, that were so hell bent on having control over people, having control over the streets, being the biggest this, the biggest that. And, don't get me started on the GDs, because literally we already know how they was getting down in Cabrini Green. Type in Cabrini Green GDs rape elevators and then just read it for yourself. But my point is, I look at the fact that we have some black brothers and sisters that's literally just looking for what they believe is community, what they believe is belonging, and what they believe is guidance. And a lot of times it's just so wrong. It's like completely wrong where it's coming from. And a lot of times the older generation thinks that, their angle of what we're doing wrong has nothing to do. The last video I posted was called Gray Pill, but I should change it. You don't want to call it Gray Pill, call it coconut peel or Morales peel, because Morales, I'm gonna get to the coconut peel, but just real quick, I don't really watch movies for a lot of reasons. My attention span, for one, is more geared towards watching TV shows, but also the way TV shows are written versus how movies are written. Movies are written for mass appeal. And what does mass appeal mean? It means white people and a lot of different groups that may not necessarily be white, excuse me, but I'm gonna get to Tim Hardaway, by the way, because this is what they had us fucked up in China Black Panther poster. So the whole controversy was they didn't think that the movie Black Panther would sell if they had a black man's face. So in China, they had this one with his mask on there. I'm bringing this up because when I wasn't too excited per se to see any movie in recent history as I was to see this Spider-Verse movie, even though, shout out to Sister Olayemi, it is indeed what could be considered propaganda or cop propaganda. I definitely tried to press this one, but all right, cool. Not that I'm against that song. If y'all heard that, that song is cool, but no, we trying to play the African vibes right now. But anyway, so despite it being propaganda, I thought it would be a really good, enjoyable experience, and it was. It was inspirational. It featured some elements of radicalism or radical imagery, such as the brother from the UK. But ultimately, we already know it's Disney. At best, it's pandering. But at any rate, I just thought it was cool. Let me get off of this. I wasn't trying to keep it on that. We're not finna talk about no. I'm sorry for that, sister. Whatever that said. What did that say? It's a hysterectomy. I'm so sorry, sister, for that. I didn't mean to laugh. I apologize. I actually speak health to you, but I really do need to get back to talking about this though. So listen, I promise I'm not being dismissive. But anyway, so what was I gonna say? The point is Morales Peel. Biggest part when he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing." The whole idea that I was saying in the last video and what it has to do with Kamala Harris and what I'm saying, coconut peel, and by the way, watch my other video where I say the reason Sister Harris probably could have won is if she pivoted to weed. If she would have, instead of saying, "I will ensure that Israel always has the right to defend itself," or "I will always ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force," she could have said, "I will ensure that all 50 states have illegal recreational cannabis." Our premise, the 80 million people that didn't vote probably would have instantly put the blunt down and ran to the voter registration booth. But anyway, y'all, we're not talking about that right now. But at any rate, going back to Sister Harris and the coconut peel and all of that, she said, we didn't fall out of a coconut tree. We exist within the context of people that came before us, like these guys. And in reality, they don't have the answers for us. Are y'all crazy? If all of the, religiosity and church or conservatism or capitalism or whatever isms y'all thought was going to help black people, bootstrap isms, if y'all thought that, why has that not worked yet? Like, why has that not worked yet? I'm just gonna tell you, is not ever gonna work. It's something that has harmed black people for a long time, buying into that stuff. Sorry y'all for the music stopping. This is a little difficult to keep DJing in this way. But at any rate, Let me see here. Okay, perfect. Go back. All right. Anyway, so I went to this event yesterday, or not yesterday, I'm tweaking. I went to this event last week, or this past weekend. And apparently this is Tim Hardaway. When I first posted this, I didn't know who the fuck this was. I was like, who is this old bald man talking about we need to get back to whooping kids? Listen, as much as a child, a young man, a young adult, young woman, whatever, wants to be better in life, some shit doesn't work for a reason. Some shit is just bullshit and it doesn't work. Some people normalize abuse, and that's why it seems like stuff like whippings works. But your average child, that may be crashing out or being a YN or whatever, may be in, not just an environment that you think is best for them. For example, I didn't watch this nonsense, but I feel like, a lot of these white boys and black kids too sometimes grow up in environments where people are just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was wrong. It's because the morals and values that people have for a long time thought was the answer has been wrong as fuck. I'll give you another example on the Hotep side of stuff. Where is that? Yes, right here. This is Haile Selassie. I recently posted. Fuck Haile Selassie, man. At the end of the day, he did a lot of nonsense. This is him kissing Queen Elizabeth's hand, and this is amongst many coon things he's done and things that just was supposed to not happen. So for example, go watch the video where where was it? Go watch the video. I was watching this the other day where it was this brother who was talking about what do you call it? Just how the black community, specifically like the hip hop community, has adopted, Haile Selassie right here, how hip hop crowned the wrong king. So that dope shift, go peep that, because bro cooked. And yeah, I had actually said that before, because at the end of the day, I actually had a homie when I was living in Minnesota who was Ethiopian. It's a lot of East Africans in Minnesota. And that includes Ethiopians, Somali, etc., Eritrean, and the history of Eritrea and Ethiopia. If you look into that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. The point is, there is a lot of just wrong information out here that's supposed to be inspiring us, etc., etc. My thing is, there are people who are willing to crash out in general. They're willing to crash out on their own people. They're willing to crash out on the police. Willing to crash out on record execs. Say what you want about Chief Keef. And initially, I didn't really know what to feel about him. Back in, I would say, when I first found out about Chief Keef, I was still in college. It was like 2011, 2012. I was like, who? And I was not in Chicago at the time, but I was just like, what's the deal? What's really going on in Chicago right now? But, Chief Keef, the thing that people know him for, as far as going to jail or whatever, is getting into essentially a shootout. They say Chief Keef never got the chance to let off a shot, so I wouldn't really count that as a shootout. But the police love to try to market things a certain way, and of course, if you're a rapper that's on that gang shit, of course you're not gonna necessarily deny that. But really, seems like what happened is Chief Keef pointed his gun at the police, and they saw him do that and started to shoot at him. And upon shooting at him, they missed and he ran off. My thing is, Haile Selassie did not free Ethiopia. Haiti did. We can look that up. In fact, watch this. I'll be trolling, but I'll also be saying a lot of real shit in comments. Look, watch this. That dope shift. What did I say? I said Haiti freed Ethiopia. Never forget. And bro liked the comment, the uploader of the video. And then he put peace to beautiful Haiti. Shout out to my Haitians, my Zoes. All right, so Haiti, Ethiopia, Italy. Oh man, I gotta do a little better on the Ethiopia. I was trying this Ethiopian war. All right. Says Haiti financed the army. I know this is Reddit. I wish there was better. Says Benito Sylvian helped Ethiopia win the war. So let's look up him. What's his name? Benito. Is it Benito or Bonito? What are you gonna say? Benito. What's bro name? Come on, play my music while y'all playing. There we go. What's bro name? I'm wasting time. I should have been looked this up. Benito Sylvian. Come on, G. Oh man, look at this sharp brother. Hell nah. Haitian journalist, diplomat, lawyer. He also participated in organizing the 1900 Pan-African Conference and was a close friend of W.E.B. Du Bois. Sylvian pathed the connection between Afro-descendants and Africans and became a representative for those groups that were colonized by France. Gang shit. All right, so let's see. Ethiopia. Come on, G. Ethiopia. All right, it's not a lot coming up for it, but that's what I heard, G. And there's some stuff coming up saying that he did that. But I heard it was more than that, though. The point is, weak ass Haile Selassie didn't do shit. So people literally regard him in the way as like a messiah, like this. And that's the unfortunate fact. It's like, come to me, guys. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. It's like, no. Let's just talk about belief for a second, right? So one thing that the left gets wrong is trying to get people to believe stuff, right? Rather than to get people to stop doing stuff. The main thing I'm talking about is the LGBT, especially the trans shit. They are trying to get people to believe that trans women are real women and that gender is a social construct. Excuse me. My boy, you cannot make anybody believe shit. But if you could at the very least be like, all right, look, don't you think it's not fair to just attack somebody, especially like physically, for just being who they are or being who they want to be? Let's say you don't believe that they was born that way. Let's say they want to do that. Cool. You don't got to believe that they was born that way, but you can't, you know what I'm saying, stand by while they get hurt, and you can't contribute to that. But the left is so stubborn and stupid. Let me put it to you like this. The place I'm currently living right now, I'm very grateful for who I'm staying with. I can't smoke in here, right? Don't you think, fuck that. I'm finna explain it to y'all like this. 10 years ago, I was told by the same person that eventually I would have to stop smoking, which I do not believe. Do y'all think it would be, what do y'all think is easier? I keep saying, what do you think? Because that's me trying to be diplomatic, democratic, or whatever. But come on, G, it's very clear that if somebody not finna stop smoking, you're not finna, make them, but you could at least get them to not do something that is against, your, it's not my, it's their boundaries to have, because this space doesn't, belong to me. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, with the trans people, like, it's not my life to dictate what they do, but my brain is not yours to try to dictate what the fuck I believe in. Um, which kind of brings me to I don't know if it's too early to talk about any of this stuff yet, but ultimately, I just feel like it's important. Not I just feel like it is very important for people to know that a lot of people are going to, you feel me? A lot of people are going to rebel against you if you are coming with bullshit or coming with something that they don't believe in. And in general, some people are just willing to crash out in general because they don't necessarily feel like it's a whole lot to live for. And I'm not saying to use those people, but I am saying that those people will be loyal to you if you feel me, fuck with them the long way and not the wrong way. For example, this was me not too long ago. Y'all could pause to read what that say. While I was going through it bad, I'm still feeling kind of the way I feel, but I feel way better now. And as y'all can see, my screen cracked as hell. That's why the light keeps shining like that. But man, look, I love my family, and I definitely needed this experience. Going over there, I basically helped my auntie move. My cousin came and got me, and basically, it was very important that I had that experience because, you know, there's different ways to, be suicidal, right? I would never kill myself, but a lot of times I be feeling like, um, just having a righteous crash out on some, setting it up with like 12 or whatever, just cause like, you know what, fuck 12, what y'all finna do about it? Or just the fact that I know that, poverty is nothing more than it's a death sentence with extra steps. So I've constantly felt like I was up against, this existential, potential, outcome that could not be, the most lively. Speaking of lively, who the fuck is Blake Lively? I was watching, I think it was Olayemi earlier today, and they was talking about Blake Lively. I said, who the fuck is that? Is that a talk show host? Live with Blake Lively. Is that a holistic health influencer? It's like Lively Botanicals. No, but man, my point is, man, I was just feeling like, here, I'm gonna talk about this fine ass sister soon, because this is, I may as well. It's a lot of, as y'all can see, it's a lot of stuff that I have. Let me do this. Maybe will stop the. Maybe that didn't work. Damn, I don't know how the fuck to stop this shit from carbon copy feces. I'm trying to like keep the light decent. That shit round too all the time, boo. I'm trying to. Nah, but anyway, even when I'm not trying to, when I gun that beat, I slide through. I hope the shit that I'm doing inspires you. Nah, but anyway, what was I finna fucking say? So look, I was just thinking in the moment, like I was so grateful that because it's so when people are outcasted the way that I've been like over time, and a lot of it is intentional because it's like I don't want to make sacrifices for the community that I don't feel I have to. I don't feel like I should pretend to believe in shit that I don't believe in, whether that's Jesus, zodiacs, or trans women being real women. And because of that, on all angles, people are just pissed off. Like, you don't believe, I don't have to. You shouldn't require me to participate in things that you know are clearly not revolutionary, clearly not, you know what I'm saying? And it feels bad to be, left out sometimes, but a lot of times it's like, what am I being left out from? At the time, I was just thinking, if anybody tried to fuck with anybody, and let me go back to the video so y'all can see. I was like, if anybody fuck with anybody in this room the wrong way, I would absolutely crash out for them. And that's the thing. Like, you want to embrace the YNs and the Crashouts because Haiti freed themselves and helped free others because they was on business. When I say on business, I'm talking about violence. Like, I'm not talking about none of this shit that you think the Democrats is for. No, not at all. And no, I'm not talking about praying no shit. No, I'm not talking about, and that's the thing. That's another reason why I haven't ever been able to be in no particular schools of thought. As hotepish as y'all may think I am, when I look at what I perceive hoteps are, is motherfuckers that are willing to believe in anything that won't actually require them to turn up for real. So, for example, like, and other people have said this before. FD Signifier said this before, but I said this shit before him. I said a lot of shit before y'all ass. But anyway, my whole thing is like, people would rather believe in some dumb shit like, oh yeah, this is because it's Mercury retrograde or whatever, or it's some demons doing it, or it's some sort of like, evil cabal of lizard people, rather than, no, it's some people that's human beings that you can touch. And by touch, I mean, you can beat their ass. You can figure out different ways to resist. Excuse me. It's not none of that nut shit y'all talking about. Now, going back to Fine Mama, Triple S, what I like to call a sexy socialist sister. I'm just using her as an example because I was like, I put a lot of shit into this little section because I really didn't know what the hell I wanted to talk about. But I remember her saying some shit like, sometimes I like, first of all, her whole thing when she was making videos, and shout out to her, nobody's perfect, but she would start the videos off saying, it's not hypocritical to participate in capitalism while critiquing it, because one of the things is we're all kind of like forced to participate in it. But also the sister said some shit about how she just likes to buy designer every now and again and will pay hundreds of dollars for like one item. And I'm like, you don't got to do that type of capitalism though. And my thing in saying that is there are so many just compromises that people make that's supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? They're like, what, you want everybody to live like you? The thing is, if people didn't think that there was, a market, if you gotta hit, white people only understand two things. And both of them are the loss of liquid, whether that's the loss of body fluid, liquid like blood, or the loss of liquid assets. So, here we go. It's like how the right co-op self-improvement. Now, foreign man in a foreign land. He basically said it like in a couple seconds, which is people do this round peg, round hole, square peg, square hole bullshit where it's like there's a certain like set of beliefs that one side always has. There's another set of beliefs that this other side always has. And worse than that, so it's like if you want to believe in something like, working out and fitness and shit, shout out to FD Signifier. And I watched his video recently where he has this thumbnail, and he actually, he cooked, and shout out to him for saying that he don't blame third party voters. And he said that is indeed a strategic thing to do. At the same time, though, and I had to just use these two pictures because if you really look at it, right? Here, I'm trying to change the song and shit. Come on. Leave it Palestina. Palestina. All right, so anyway, so this fat guy is potentially the main target for both kinds of content. The content that says, hey, I'm going to prey on, how you exist in this world and what you look like, et cetera, and be able to, et cetera, and be able to make money off you potentially from my course. And then over here, you feel me? We've got, oh, no. You're perfectly fine. If anybody says you're fat, that's anti-black. If anybody tells you to work out, that's ableist. You know what I'm saying? Just feel good about every single decision you make. And if you want to hear more, join my Patreon or become a member, Nebula. And it's like, I'm a person like me, it's really upsetting that there's this false dichotomy because I don't identify with this image here. So neither group has been able to I've never felt like embarrassed about who I am, for being poor, for having my hair look like this, so neither side can prey on that part of me, or whether the left thinks they're preying or not. I just think it's kind of ironic and kind of bullshit that they're like, oh, well, you got only one or two, you only got this option or that option. And kind of lost my train of thought. But just this idea that, man, bro, it's just, man, I just get tired of shit sometimes. Let me move on and figure out what else I want to say, if I want to say anything else. So let me just give you an example, and I'm gonna talk about this all the time, which is, so I see this guy who's supposed to be like, hey, I'm this mature guy and I'm an old man and all of that. Look at my beard. And FD Signifier has he's talked about how this guy, how he looks up to this guy or whatever. Let me put my face right over this guy right here. Don't be a man child. No, but he mentions in the video how somebody disrespected his wife and how he's talked about how he wanted to crash out because he had a gun and he would have killed him. And it's like, look, you don't have to kill somebody per se, especially not in that situation, but defending your wife or whatever, yeah, go ahead and do that. And my thing is, we should stop stigmatizing that type of shit. Go watch my other video, man versus boy versus bitch, because at the end of the day, G, in fact, here, let me show y'all while I'm plugging everybody else shit. Here, go watch my shiznit over here, your videos. Motherfucker, eat on Kas. You see this shit? Boy versus boss versus bitch. And it's all Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry as a boy, as a boss, and so here's the crazy thing. As you see this this little banner here that says Story of the Beige Bartender. So watch that, because it's basically about how I almost beat the fuck out of my manager a regular customer who was well liked by the general community almost beat the fuck out of my manager, and how in general, uh, just what we are expected to deal with in society as men. And then also, you can call it toxic masculinity all you want, but a black man should not feel wrong for physically defending himself, defending his manhood. You just gotta pick your battles and make it be appropriate. But this whole idea that like fighting is wrong and that's a man child and all that, like, nah, whoop some ass sometimes. You're gonna fucking have to. You're gonna have to sometimes. So I decided to talk. So real quick, this is something that I love to mention, which is the fact that today, nowadays, it is super difficult for me to find work because I have a record. And how I got that record is because somebody was sexually harassing my, at the time, girlfriend. And we tried to go about it the right way, and the job did absolutely nothing. And so I did something. I went up there and I whooped his ass. Fast forward, I ended up getting, a misdemeanor charge for that. And that's a violent crime. Some people, some jobs don't care as long as it's not like a gun or a murder or rape. But some jobs don't care what it is at all. If it's, you feel me, a violent crime, they're not fucking with you, especially if you're dealing with certain demographics. But my thing is, overall, I don't feel bad for that. The only thing I feel wrong for is that I dropped my phone at the scene of the crime, and that was literally all they needed. Even though I didn't have my fingerprints, all it took was people saying that's his phone. And the thing is, according to my lawyer, I ended up resolving it as a misdemeanor because initially it was a felony. I could talk about this shit on another situation. But the point I'm bringing this up for is embrace the crash house and the YNs. So here, I said, if it was a problem, though, a real problem, when you encourage a confrontation, let's discuss how to embrace and mobilize the YNs and crash house. Haiti wasn't free with the Bible. In fact, that's what enslaved us all. Some of us are going to be on the fringes. We are not getting married. We're not having kids. We're not owning businesses. We are only here to fight. And the community got to recognize that and act accordingly. As bad as that sounds, I mean, what would you rather it be? Motherfuckers going to jail for that or for killing their own kind? By the way, shout out. It says this track isn't available on mobile. That's some bullshit. But anyway, if you want to, what the hell is going on? We're sorry, that track. What track? You can't be serious, my boy. I feel like technology is absolutely tweaking right now. Why though? Why is it not available on mobile, guys? Anyway, so here's my thing. This young man right here, he is on trial right now for murder. Apparently two big ass white boys came up to him. He was in the rain. He was trying to avoid the rain. And then two big ass white boys was like, hey, talk about it's not available. What the fuck is wrong with this shit? Thanks for playing it. But anyway, these two big ass white boys are trying to tell him he has to leave because he doesn't go to the school. And this young brother is like, no, and they like approaching him on some aggressive shit. So he grabs his bag and says, touch me and see what happens. Now, this is my thing with white people. White people that are that bold, they need to have something done to them. Because my thing is, if anybody, I don't give a fuck what race you are, if anybody see me and I'm bigger than them and I got somebody with me and they reaching for their bag talking about touch me and see what happens, And why would you still get on that? This was an important thing to do. Is it wrong that this, white boy is dead? I don't know. I don't know everything. Y'all say I'm a know-it-all. Guess what? I don't know everything. But I know one thing for damn sure. This was an important thing for white people to notice. Is like, stop fucking around. Some of the YNs will crash out. And some of the crash outs, you feel me, are not just YNs. The name of this song playing is called Wars and Rumors of Wars, which is what? A reference to the Bible, right? Shout out to Nelson Mandela. Rest in peace, Nelson Mandela. I've been reading this book, his autobiography called Long Walk to Freedom. And I'm in the part of the book when he is in jail. And a lot of this shit is very angering to read. But here's the deal. He was considered, and his comrades, were considered prisoners of war. And they tried to strike up, prisoners of war. What the hell is wrong with me? Political prisoners. I'm thinking about the damn song War and Rumors of War, but hell, shit, prisoners of war damn near, because they got Nelson Mandela right before he was about to do some militarized actions, which was, pretty crazy. But anyway, so here's the deal. He said, not only did the jail try to start division between the political prisoners and the general population, but some of the general population, especially the gang members, they didn't necessarily care too much for none of that political shit that brother King Nelson Mandela was talking. But he was like, I saw the gang members not as rivals but as raw material to be converted. You want to know what the real Mandela effect is? It's part of what has been encouraging me to not look at death as something to fear. That a lot of what is going on right now is going to require us to, stop worrying about a lot of the comforts. And it's easy for me to say, not easy, but easier for me to say than others, because I've been homeless before. I've had to deal with, not having a lot of friends, not, being. And the thing is also, I've had it both ways. Like, I've had the ability to be, and I still do sometimes find myself in a lot of, densely populated spaces where people recognize me and they're like, oh, that's a cool dude or whatever. But also, that's not, a lot of people will say, just because I have people that know me, don't mean like I have friends. Don't mean like I have people that, like, when shit get real, like, that'll really ride for me or whatever. And a lot of it has to do with how I am, approaching life and whatnot. Now, let me see what this white man was talking about.
The church and so they're saying that the IFB movement is filled with covering up sin and all this.
Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people keep thinking, damn. I didn't recognize that the audio probably got kind of huff. But anyway, hopefully the audio didn't get too bad for y'all. But at any rate, people really think that they have the answer for the youth in these, traditional bullshit ass ways. But I need y'all to understand that in reality, this was never designed for anything positive for real. People just wanted to make it positive because they didn't want to rebel against it. It's easier to, instead of, rebelling against religion, it's easier to just say, Well, actually, Jesus is black, which if you read Daniel 7, which is a dream, go read Daniel 7, type it in right now, or go find your Bible. You should have a Bible, right? If you read it, you should have a Bible, like hard copy, right? Go read Daniel 7. It's a dream, number one. And two, it never says hair is like wool. It says hair is white like wool. But that's not the only problem, obviously, with this. So Jesus, and people try to say, okay, well, maybe the Bible is bad or whatever, and there's certain parts that's wrong, but we can do liberation theology or whatever because Jesus was such a cool guy. Read Luke 12, where he literally, and there's so many parts of the Bible that encourage division amongst people, especially, all that xenophobic bullshit where they like this other group of people doesn't live like us, or don't look like us, or don't worship the way you worship. Go over there and kill them. So right here, Jesus is saying to this group of people, says many thousands had gathered, be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees. What does that mean? They said the yeast of the Pharisees could be understood as self-righteousness. They held strict adherence to law as proof of their own goodness. So who were the Pharisees, though? A member of a Jewish group known for their strict adherence to the law and their interpretation of Jewish law. They emphasized both written and oral law, often focusing on external observations and ritual purity. While respected for their piety by many, Jesus criticized them for hypocrisy and placing heavy burdens on people. That's cool and all, but at the end of the day, that was simply just another group, another religious group that people didn't agree with. And Jesus said, don't fuck with them new niggas over there. Actually, they were the new niggas in this situation because those Jews predate them. But anyway, somebody in the crowd said to him, teacher, talking to Jesus, right? This is the same Luke 12, right? Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. Jesus replied, man, who appointed me a judge or arbiter between you? Then he said to them, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possessions. Here's the thing. Who appointed you to be a judge? Nigga, you. And I'm using nigga loosely because, once again, this person didn't exist. There was never a person named Jesus. Never met a nigga named Jesus because that person never existed. I mean, I never met a nigga named Jesus. I met a Mexican named Jesus, but he never tried to convince me he could walk on water. Anyway, so life is more than food, body more than clothes, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. This guy was kind of a dream seller. He's saying all of this stuff. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about greed or whatever. But all of the people, for example, Solomon, that, God said was a man after his own heart, or he said that about David, which is Solomon's dad. These were literal whoremongers, rapists. They had multiple wives, concubines. And if you know anything about that time, all these weird ass niggas who like to talk about our ancestors was polygamous or whatever. In reality, they were prisoners of war, victims of rape, really young women who didn't really have a choice. And some women did make that choice, but it was only because they had all of the money and resources and land, and that they got by force. People like Solomon. It says, consider how wildflowers grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. Come on, G. What? That is how God teaches the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow thrown in the fire. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, in the fire. Ye of little faith. But seek his kingdom and all these things will be given to you as well. It's a lot of double speak here. But let's keep reading. It says, know that, so people say this verse a lot, that God is coming like a thief in the night. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let this house be broken into. You must be ready because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. So he's comparing God, that's the Son of Man, to a thief in the night. So fear mongering, all of that. Some people are just not impacted by that. Like me, Like, when I hear that type of shit, that doesn't inspire me. That inspires me to rebel against it. Just like when I was watching this stupid ass nigga, go about saying all the dumb shit he was saying, I wasn't inspired by none of that shit. I was like, are y'all actually listening to what he's advocating for? But watch this one here. Another part where Jesus, because people think that Jesus had nothing to do with encouraging slavery. We do know that when people use the word use the word servant, they are talking about slavery. 47, this is still Luke 12. The servant who knows the master's will and does not get ready or does not know what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. Because you wouldn't beat a servant that's just helping you for money, right? You would just fire them if they weren't doing, you know what I'm saying? So this is obviously a slave relationship. But the one who does not know and does these things or does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. This is another one that people quote a lot. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted much, much more will be asked. So to whom much is given, much is required. That's where that comes from. So first he compares God to a thief. Then he's comparing God to a slave master who will beat you regardless. If you do something wrong, God is going to beat you. He's just going to beat you more if you know better or whatever. And yes, that is advocacy for slavery, because he's simply saying, like, he's normalizing it and he's comparing God to that. So obviously that is, if you're comparing God to a slave master, if God is somebody to be worshipped, then obviously there's nothing wrong with there. That's the same reason why there's this concept of God being the father, right? So, but watch this shit here. This is still Luke 12, my boy. I have come to bring fire on earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and what constraint am I under until it's completed? Do you think I come to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 and 1 family divided against each other, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, blah, 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 blah. Listen to me. A lot of people try to say things in the Bible are just things that are predictions or descriptions. They're not prescriptions. He said, I came to do this. This is what Jesus is saying. He said he came to do this. He's not saying this is what I see going on. He said, this is what I want to happen. So when you see that things are going crazy in the world and you're like, why isn't the youth going to church and all this dumb shit? Because not only, shout out to Prim's Hood Cinema, not only were you old niggas the ones encouraging a lot of this bullshit from day, as our British brothers and sisters say, bars, but the what you want from us is nonsense. What you want from us is nonsense. You're expecting a whole lot, thinking that, you expect. It's kind of like my parents, right? They wanted me to be as intelligent as you know what I'm saying, as possible. But they didn't want me to be smart enough to challenge dumb shit or shit that just wasn't real. Anyway, speaking of shit that wasn't real, I got one more thing for the left before I continue cooking these old niggas. So I remember I was somewhere, maybe getting my blood drawn or getting my checkup or whatever, seeing if keeping it clean over here. You hear me? And this Hispanic sister who I think was drawing my blood or whatever, she was like, hey, so what's your pronouns or whatever? She was trying to like write all my information down or something like that. And I don't even think she gave me a chance to answer. She just started saying, I have to ask this because, people are like, they're having kids identify as cats and dogs. It's really true. And I kind of just stared at her. And my thing is, I don't believe in bullshit, period. If something isn't real, it's not real, right? So, like, just because I don't agree with what the whole trans shit is, don't mean I'm on the quote other side. Once again, false dichotomy. Y'all don't believe in gender binary, but y'all believe in the left right binary. Anyway, I remember being in a comment section of some video that I too late realized it was a bad faith, as y'all call it, right wing, some bullshit. And they was talking about, it was because the lady in question, she was kind of cute. She was saying some bullshit about one of them transgender hoaxes or whatever. It wasn't this one, but it was something like that. And I got in the comments and I was like, I'm not a leftist, but y'all up here spreading lies. And then motherfuckers gonna comment, you're not a leftist, keep telling yourself that. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. Like, y'all are just full of shit. And the same thing happens with the left wing. When the left says some dumb shit, and I go, like how the left still doesn't talk about how there indeed were trans people in libraries and different places shaking their ass, LGBT people shaking their ass in front of really young kids. In fact, I'm gonna plug myself again. Any of y'all that haven't seen this video on my page, definitely go watch this one. This one right here, Pastors, Scammers, Gangs, and Cults. This one right here, where it says Build and Destroy, down here. And then these videos right here are me just breaking down the video or whatever, and the bars to it and shit. But at any rate, another bullshit ass thing that happened to me recently, because I like to spread the love. I was at the bus stop, finna go get some groceries from Aldi, and I'm smoking, right? I smoke at the bus stop, wait on the bus. This old head, he's like, he looks real fucked up. His hands look like he was punching bricks. His shit looked bogus as hell. And he was like, can I hit that or whatever? So I just let him have the rest of it, because like, I'm not smoking with you. You know, when I'm out in the street, I usually don't like to pass weed to nobody unless it's like a small amount. And I was like, you can have the rest of it, because, you know, people be having all type of shit going on. Especially how bro was coming. He looked real fucked up. And what proved he was fucked up was this man was like, yeah, man, thank you. I just got out of prison or whatever. And so, I'm just kind of keeping conversation with him. I'm like, oh, damn, you got out of prison. He was like, yeah, man, if you ain't a gangster, it'll be real easy to get a job. And I was like, that's not true, man. I was like, it's all kind of shit going on here. I ain't had a job since my hair was short. And then this motherfucker starts saying some bullshit about, hey, man, all you got to do is pimp a woman or something. He's like, that's what I've been doing. God created us men to pimp women. And then I just tuned out, just kind of like how I tuned out the stupid ass lady who was saying the shit about, cat bowls or whatever. Because my thing is bullshit is bullshit. Like, and if we had to depend on like older schools of thought or whatever, we just gonna keep going in the same direction. So y'all are gonna have to understand that a lot of us are gonna rebel against the dumb shit y'all do. Some of us are gonna troll y'all, and y'all gonna have to know how to respond properly. This motherfucker, Son Michaud, he does not know what he's doing. He is lost in the sauce. That motherfucker was like, one click of a button would deny you the attention. The button y'all may think he talking about is the block button. He did not block me. Originally, I posted some funny shit in his comments that had nothing to do with him, but I was trolling. I was, saying some funny bullshit. And he pinned my comments to try to like embarrass me or whatever, but he couldn't keep up because I really do this trolling shit. And then, he eventually was just upset and I got his ass off that. He didn't even, a lot of times, another thing he will do is he will post shit where like, let's see if any of these motherfuckers comment. Nope. Nah, but he will usually post like, for example, some shit like this where you see how in the corner right here it'll be like a comment and he's like reading someone. I was just waiting for him to try to do that, and he can't do that. He can't, because I was cooking his ass, and it's not that serious. But anyway, other people recognize in the left, whether they want to or not, I'm funny as hell, and I'll be having real shit to say. Also, I'm so on the outside of society, I don't watch anime or nothing. Sister girl, Haryana Hooks, with your cute ass, she basically posted some shit where she was talking about how she met somebody and she had an autograph, and the shit said Jagged, and I was like, only Jagged my black ass knows is Jagged Edge. So I was like, you met Jagged Edge? They still touring? She laughed, let out. Look here, bro. Look here. These not, bro. I'll be getting, bro. Come on now, man. I really do this trolling shit. I'll be bored as hell. But one thing people gotta do is just understand, like, man, bro. Man. Now look, everybody is not going, for the people that have, goodness in their heart, and want to do the best shit and want to, resist against the system and all of that, realistically and all of that. And when I say realistically, I mean, I voted for somebody who I think, no, I'm talking about outside of voting. I'm talking about really putting boots to the ground and boots to somebody's ass when necessary. Excuse me. I was just finna show that, but I don't want to put nobody on blast, or somebody do need foot on their ass. But anyway, because I just saw that picture. But anyway, this goes to prove two things. One, that older niggas, oftentimes be forgetting that it's generations prior that is fucking everything up, and there were at least members of those generations who was fucking everything up, and try to use younger generations as a scapegoat. It's nothing new. The other thing is, some young people like this brother here, if y'all not familiar, this is Bloodhound Little Jeff, who is dead. I found out about him on accident when I went back to my old hood. Go watch, not this shit. Go watch, come on. Go watch this video here when I went back to my old hood, The Irony of Being a Loser. Go watch that video, because I definitely cooked with that one. But anyway, I went back to my old hood and found out from some of the local YNs about this brother here and the Bloodhound gang or whatever. The other thing I'm mentioning, though, aside from the fact that, not only is this guy right here his father, but the person who commented, come on. The person who commented this right here, go ahead, son, your name ringing bells in the streets. I love it. Sliding on them niggas who slept in bed with you. This person commenting this shit is his mom. So some of y'all are going to try to reach out to young brothers and be like, hey, instead of slide on the ops, slide on some crooked cops, or slide on, somebody who is doing negative things in the community. Slide on, you know what I'm saying? Do some Luigi Mangione shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are not going to listen to that shit because they are already well embraced by the elders in their community. This shit is so fucked up. Jeffrey Harris, who is his father, posted, and to let it be known, y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all, and what happened. But the saga continues. Clear the streets. No, the fuck. I forgot all about that part until I just read it. No, the fuck he did. And that's what I was about to say about the whole Haryana Hook shit. I don't really know about anime and nothing like that. I'm on the outside of so much shit. But I do remember Dragon Ball Z. This nigga quoted Dragon Ball Z on some gang shit, and you're a parent? What? Yes, this guy Jeffrey Harris is in a gang. That's why he doesn't look much older than his son. Oh man. But he's got to be older than me because his son was like 20 something when he died. This shit is sad as hell. But anyway, This kid, Bloodhound Lil Jeff, was just a murderer. And I don't care what Lil Bill and nobody else say. It's a very significant decision to murder somebody. And when you're murdering more than one person just out of sport, I don't care what you call that. I say that that's at least not better than serial. You're a serial killer adjacent. You're a nut. Something's wrong with you. And I'm sorry. I don't fuck with Dr. Umar and him saying some people got to be put to sleep for good. Like, I don't necessarily believe in that, but I also believe that you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't reach out to a Bloodhound Lil Jeff. I'm saying you definitely should. But back off when it's showing signs that he's not listening and that he would rather keep doing the shit he's doing, which a lot of times that happens. And if somebody is in an environment where their fucking mother and father are encouraging their bullshit, it's not a whole lot you can do. Which brings me to this picture or these pictures. This is my ex. Prime example. Bless her heart. But you know, I don't even know if this sister is still alive. I hope she is. But one thing I had to realize is that I'm not finna be a possessive boyfriend. I remember having a discussion where I realized, like, you know, there was a list of like things that show you whether or not oh shit. Hold on. Hopefully this shit not tweaking too much. Let me see. All right, hopefully that's cool. But anyway, I remember having a discussion where there's like this list of like ways to know that your boyfriend is possessive, and one of them is trying to keep you away from your family and friends. And I wasn't trying to keep her away from her family and friends because I was possessive. Well, I had to realize that there is more than one way to be abusive, and I was abusive in other ways. I'm not the guy to beat or cheat, but I am the guy that sometimes will come with some shit that, you know, this is why I stay out of relationships, because I know that there's a lot that I would all these mugshots, but by the way, are before we met. But she definitely has some mugshots after. But the point is, she was well embraced by her community as a, you know, kind of wild body criminal young lady. And, you know, there was nothing that I could do about that. And so eventually I had to back off. So pick your battles, but also when it comes to people who are at the very least able to be politically, you know, I don't want to say radicalized because that's kind of adjacent to indoctrination, but you feel me? Fuck with your boy. Did I mention this part here when I said go watch my video? Maybe I didn't. Watch my video where I feel like I've been talking for too long. But just in case I didn't say this, if y'all wanted Trump to lose, and y'all wanted Sister Harris to win, she could have definitely embraced. I bet you she could have won. G, I probably did mention that earlier. But go watch my video where I was talking about. Maybe I didn't do that one. Did I do that shit? Did I show that earlier? I'm high as hell. Go watch that shit, y'all. I feel like I've spoken for far too long. Man, y'all. I'm just going through one more thing just to see if there's one more thing. I think we good here. You know what? Let me end it here. I want y'all to hear this right here, y'all. Listen to this poem. I recently discovered this guy. It sucks so bad when I don't find nobody out until they pass away. But listen to his brother speak. He was spitting. This is a British poet who was raw as hell. I just learned about him though like yesterday.
People need people to walk to talk to cry and rely on. People will always need people. To love and to miss, to hug and to kiss, it's useful to have other people. To whom will you moan if you're all alone? It's so hard to share when no one is there. There's not much to do when there's no one but you. People will always need people. to please, to tease, to put you at ease. People will always need people. To make life appealing and give life some meaning, it's useful to have other people. If you want to change, to whom will you turn? If you want a lesson, from whom will you learn? If you want to play, then you'll know why I say people will always need people. As girlfriends, as boyfriends, from Mumbai to Ostend, people will always need people. To have friendly fights with and share tasty bites with, it's useful to have other people. People live in families, gangs, posses, and packs. It seems we need company before we relax. So stop making enemies and let's face the facts. People will always need people. Oh, yeah. And the Hay Festival will always love people. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm working on trying not to make enemies because that shit is kind of easy for me to do. Um, but I do got energy that got to go somewhere, and I'd rather it go to the oppressors than my own people. So let's figure out a way to work together. You hear me?